Welcome back to the course on digital logic and computer architecture. We are discussing about the main memory. Alright. So what we have seen that memory is connected to the processor and processor work with the contents of the main memory. Now we have seen that main memory is constructed in two different ways. One is your static RAM and second one is the dynamic RAM. So after that, what will happen now? We are having a memory chip. So that memory chip is generally combined together or connecting together to get a bigger memory module, and we are going to see how that memory module is constructed for our computers. So in this particular slide, basically I am going to explain what we have over here. If you consider this particular block, then what you get that it is a memory chip having 512 words by 512 bits. Okay, so it is having 512 by 512 organization. So what we can see, that means we are having 512 rows. Okay, so it is saying this is the 512 words. So this is the 512 rows. In every word it is having 512 bits. So here we are having 512 bits. Okay. So this is your 512 rows and 512 bits. But on the other hand, here we can access every bit, each bit. So what we are going to have, say now you can say here we have 512 bits. Okay. So each and every bit can be accessed together. Okay. So we can go to a particular bit position and we can access it. Now how we are going to access that particular bit? For that we have to give our address. Now we know that this is we are having 512 rows. To identify any of the 512 rows, we need address line. So what will be the size of the address line? Now I can say it is very simple, since 2 to the power 9 is equal to 512. So we need 9 bit of address line. So with the help of 9 bit of address line, we can select one row. So once we are selecting, say, this ith row, then we are going to work with the jth bit of this particular ith row. Now how we are going to get this particular jth bit? Again we have to give the appropriate address. Now how many columns we have? 512. So that means we have again 2 to the power 9. That means we need 9 bit of address line. So in this particular case, user chip that I am having, say, memory address register, you know, it is a register, specific register inside my processor. With the help of this particular processor register, memory address register, we are going to give the address to the memory module. So here we need 9 bit of address for selecting an row, and inside that particular row, when we are going to select a particular bit, I need another 9 bit of address. So this is 9 plus 9, total 18 bit of address we are providing. So it is coming to the memory. So this 9 bits, 9 plus 9, total 18 bit of address is given to this particular memory chip. It is going to select one particular row, and with the help of other 9 bits we are going to select a particular bit. So we are selecting this particular bit position, and it will come out through the bit line from this particular memory chip. So in this particular case, what will happen? Such type of memory chip, this is the first memory chip, this is the second memory chip, like that we are using total 8 such type of memory chip. Okay, so total 8 such type of memory chip, and from every chip we are getting 1 bit of information. So total we are collecting over 8 bits, and these 8 bits is connected to the MBR, memory buffer register. So you just see what we are doing actually. This is a memory chip, or these are a collection of memory chip from this particular memory chip, we are selecting 1 bit. Like that, from 8 different memory chips, we are simultaneously selecting 8 different bits, and those 8 different bits are stored in this particular memory register, which is your memory buffer register. So in this particular case now, if you look into this particular memory chip, you are going to say that this memory chip is nothing but it is 512 into 512. That means 2 to the power 18 by 1 memory chip. That means we are having total 2 to the power 18 memory location, and in every memory location we can store 1 bit of information. But when we are going to combine them together and going to look for this particular collection of memory chips, we will find that this is nothing but your 2 to the power 18 by 8 memory module. So the capacity is here 2 to the power 18 by 8. That means, what does it mean? We are having 2 to the power 18 memory location, and in every memory location we can store 8 bit of information. And 2 to the power 18 is nothing but, I can say it is 2 to the power 8 into 2 to the power 10 into 8. So this is your 256 by 2 to the power 10 into 8. So 256 into 2 to the power 8 is nothing but your 256 kilo memory location. So we are having total 256 kilo memory location, and in every memory location we can store 8 bit of information. So that's why I am saying, what is the capacity of this particular memory module? It is 256 KB. Okay, so this is basically the capacity of this memory module is your 256 KB. That means we are having 256 memory location, and each memory location we can store 1 byte of information. And how we have constructed it? We have constructed it by combining 8 memory chips, and each memory chips we are having total 256 kilo memory location, and in every memory location we can store 1 bit of information. Okay, this is the way that we can look into this particular organization. Now similarly, now come to another memory module organization, and just see now what we are going to get over here. Now you just try to analyze yourself, or anyway, I am going to give some hints later on. By looking into this particular diagram, you just see whatever we are going to have this particular combination. This is A1 to A8, A1, A2, like that, A7, A8. It is again 1 of 512, 1 of 512. So if I look into this particular column over here, this column is very much similar to this particular arrangement. Okay, so what is this arrangement? This is basically 256 kilobyte module, where I am having 256 memory location, and every memory location I can store 1 byte of information. So this is one such memory module. Okay, similarly now you are going to have B, C, D. So these are A, B, C, D. Now I am having 4 different memory module. So these are the first memory module is constructing with the help of 8 memory chips. This is B is another bank, C is another bank, D is another bank. Now you just see, to select any one of the memory location for those particular chip, we need 18 bit of information, because already we have seen in our last discussion, in the last slide, we have seen that this 18 bits is required, because first 9 bit is going to select a particular row, second 9 bit is going to select a particular column. So we are going to select 1 bit, and this bit will be selected, 1 bit will be selected from all those particular 8 memory chips. So we are going to get 8 bit of information, and that 8 bit of information will come to this particular MBR. Okay, now I am now putting 4 such type of bank, A, B, C, D. Now to select any one of these particular bank A, B, C or D, I need 2 bit of information. That means we need another 2 bits in the address line. So this 2 bit is coming over here. So now this 2 bit will come as a input to a decoder, which is basically 2 by 4 decoder, 2 by 4 decoder. So depending on the values of these 2 bits, it may be either both 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1. If both are 0, then we can say that it is going to select this particular A bank, 0, 1 B, 1, 0 C and 1, 1 D. So this is the way I can say. Now these two address lines are coming over here, and these are the 4 signal it will generate, which is going to select one of this particular group. And whenever I am selecting, say the address is coming like that 0, 1 of this 2 bit, then we are selecting this particular B group, then 1 bit from those particular B group will be selected, and that will come to this particular MBR. You just see, that means now we are having option. I can select the word or byte from the group A or group B or group C or group D. Now if you look into this particular way, so now this is, we are getting another memory module which is bigger than the previous one. This is the 256 kilobyte. Now it will be now 256 kilobyte by 4 memory chip. So basically now what will happen, this memory capacity is increased by 4 times over here. That means we are getting another memory module whose capacity is 4 times more than the memory module that we have discussed in the previous slide. So basically now if I come to this particular point, now we can say that we are going to get 1 megabyte memory module. This is the same thing. So how I am getting that 1 megabyte? You just see we are having 256 kilobyte. So this is going to give me 256 kilobyte. We are having 4 such group, that means it will be increased by 4. So that means this is nothing but 1024 kilobyte. Again we know that 1024K is nothing but map to your mega. So ultimately it is going to have 1 megabyte. Okay, it is basically 1024 kilobyte. Again we know that 1024K is equal to 1 mega. So we say that the capacity of this particular memory module is your 1 megabyte. Now if we are having such type of 1 megabyte memory chip, then what will happen? Now we can construct now bigger memory modules with the help of this particular memory chip. So this is your 1 megabyte memory chip. Now we can now use this same principle to construct memory module of bigger memory chip. So in this particular case, now come to this particular slide. Now it says that consider a memory chip of capacity 1 megabyte. Okay, that means we have 1 mega memory location, and every memory location we are having, or we can store 8 bit of information. That means you can think that this is the memory module or memory chip where I am having 1 megabyte memory capacity. Now here I am just giving you small example or giving some exercises that you can do. Now construct a memory module of capacity 4 megabyte. It is asking you have to construct a memory module of 4 megabytes. But what is the organization? It says that it is a 2 mega by 16. That means we should have 2 mega memory location. In every memory location we can have 16 bit of information. Okay, now you just see how you can construct it. Now it is very simple. I am telling you. First one I am going to tell you with diagrams. Say I am having, this is 1 mega. Okay, this is 1 megabit, this is 1 megabit, this is another 1 megabit, this is another 1 megabit. So this is basically if I 1 megabyte. Okay, so if I going to come work with this particular memory module, then finally I am going to get 4 megabyte memory location. But now it says that how we are going to have these things. We now organize it at 2 mega memory location. So these two chips will give me 1 mega memory location, and this will give me another 1 mega memory location. And from this chip, what happened? I am going to get 8 bits. Okay. So from here I am going to get 8 bits. So combining together I am going to get 16 bit. Okay. So these are the 16-bit data we are going to get. And how many addresses we have to give over here? You just say that this is a 1 mega memory location, so we need 20-bit address line. Okay. Plus either I have to select these two memory modules together, or we have to select these two memory chips together. Either I am selecting these two, that means I am selecting one word from these two particular memory chips, and I am getting this 16 bits. Now when I am going to select one word from these things, then I am going to get one word or 16 bit from these two memory chips. So now I should have one more select line or address line to select either these two memory chips or other two memory chips. So finally address bus will become 20 plus 1. So this will be 21 bits. That means here it says what is the size of the address bus. So in this case my size of the address bus will be your 21 bits. And what will be the size of my data bus? You will find that my data size of data bus is your 16 bits, because at any point of time we can access 16 bit of information, and this 16 bit will come either from this is A or B, or it may come from C or and D. So simultaneously we can access 16 bit of information. So this is the 4 megabyte capacity, but it is organized as 2 mega by 16. Now second one, it says that construct a memory module of capacity 16 megabyte. So total capacity I am saying that it is your 16 megabyte, but what is the organization? Again it says that it is your 8M by 16. Okay. So since it is mega, means it is your 16 is 2 bytes, so 8 into 2, it is becoming 16 megabyte. So now if you look into it, here I am getting 2 megabyte. Okay, all are having 16 bit of information. So to get 8 megabyte, I have to combine 4 such type of arrangement. Then 2 mega will become 8 mega. So now we are going to get 4 other combinations. So in this particular case, that means I need 2 additional address line to select any one of these particular 4. So in this particular case, if the address bus is 21 bits, here you will get that size of the address bus will be your 23 bits, and size of the data bus will be your 16 bit, because it is 16. Now say if you understand this first two, then other two also you can very well calculate and very well give me the organization. It says that construct a memory module of 32 megabyte actually, capital B is byte. So what is the organization? It is having 8 mega by 32. So in the first one we need 4 1 megabyte memory chip. In the second case we need 4 4 is 16, so 16 different chip 1 megabyte. So here it is since 32 mega, so it is very simple. I am having 1 megabyte, so I need 32 memory chips, 1 megabyte memory chips to construct 32 megabyte memory module. But now you have to see how you are going to organize it. We are going to organize it by 8M by 32. So now you can find out what is the size of data bus and what will be the size of address bus. Since in 8 mega I am saying that it is 23, here also we will be needing 23 lines of address bus, and we need 32 bit of address. Now similarly, now we can increasing the memory module size, and we said that 128 memory module, 128 megabyte, but it is organized as 32 mega by 32 bits. That means in every memory location we are having 32 bits of information, and accordingly we are having 32 mega memory location. We have to adjust it. Now you just see that if we are having a memory module of smaller capacity, then we can connect them together to get a bigger memory module, and in that particular case what will happen, we have to appropriately now give the address connection, address bus connection. Now here you just see, when I am having, say this is your 1 mega memory location, so if I am going for 4 mega, then I am going to have this particular 4 memory chip. Okay, now for 1 mega I know that I need 20 bit of address line. Say this is your 20 bit. Now I am having 4 such different type of modules. At any point of time I am going to work with one particular bank only. So here you will say that to select any one of these particular 4 module, I need 2 bit of additional information. So size of the address bus will be your total 20 by 2, which is equal to 22. So this is the way that we are going to connect it. Now what will happen, this particular 20 lines will be connected to the address bus of those particular 4 chips. Okay. Now depending on the address, just for simplicity I will say that the value of all those particular bits are all 0. So this is 0 0. Then in this particular case what will happen, we are selecting the 0th word of this particular 4 memory chip. Okay. Now we are selecting the 0th location of 4 memory chip. That means all those particular 4 memory chips. But we are going to work with one particular memory chip only. So for that what will happen, here I am having 2 bit of address line and it is going to give me 4 output. Say A, B, C, D. At any point of time, one of these output line is high because it is here we are using a decoder. So now this A will indicate that we are having some sort of shift select line over here. When this shift select line is enabled, then only we are going to work with this particular memory module. And in this particular case, the shift select line of the other 3 memory modules will be 0. So we are not going to work with the other 3. And eventually what will happen? We are going to work with this particular memory word, not the other memory word. Okay. So this is the way we are going to select one of these particular 4 memory modules. Okay. So now I think you've got an idea. If we are having smaller memory chip, means capacity is smaller, we can combine them together to make a bigger memory module. Now here we are having another one, the same thing, we are saying that consider a memory chip of capacity 1 megabyte. Okay, it is 1 mega memory location and everywhere I am having 8 bit of information because 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Okay, so if I say MB, it is basically mega byte. And what it says, this is the capacity I am saying, but how it is organized, then you have to look into the organization. It says that this is your 1 mega by 8. So that means I am having 1 mega memory location, and every memory location I will store 8 bit of information. That means I will store 1 byte of information, which is equal to your 1 megabyte. Now it says that construct a memory module of capacity 64 megabyte, 16M by 32. But it says that it is your byte organized. Now you have to see what does it means, byte organized. Now here we are having, say it is 16M by 32. Now I will write it. Now I think by using this particular memory module, I think you can very well construct this particular memory module 16M by 32. Now if I am going to consider this 16M by 32, you will find that this is the memory module. Here I am having 16M location. So how to select any one of this particular location? I think we need the address line. Since it is 60M, so I think we need 24 bits of address line. Okay. Now here we are having 32 bits. So size of my data bus is your 32 bits. That means we are going to work with 32 bits information together. But it says that memory is byte organized. So what does it mean? When we say that it is byte organized, we should have provision to access byte wise also. Now you just say, when I am going to look for the first word, so I will say this is my word 0. Now in this particular word 0, you will find that we are having, it consists of 4 bytes. Okay. So in word 0, you are going to get 4 byte. I will say that this is my byte 0, byte 1, byte 2 and byte 3. Alright. Now when we say it is byte organized, we should have provision to access byte wise also. I can access byte 0, byte 1, byte 2 and byte 3. So it may happen that I am going to access the entire 32 bits. On the other hand, since it is byte organized, we are going to access one particular byte. On the other hand, when we are having such type of scenario, generally we can organize it in such a way that we are going to access even 16 bits together also. That means we can say this is this 16 bit or other 16 bit. Okay. So basically what will happen now, if I come to this particular point, now I will say what we are basically going to say in this particular case. Just cleaning it. Okay. Now this is the scenario. So now what will happen when I am coming to this particular coin, I can select a complete word, or I can have that I can select half word also. Okay. Either this is 16 bit and this is another 6, or it can happen that I can go for 1 byte also. I can select 1 byte also. That means either I am going to select this byte, or maybe second byte, third byte, fourth byte. Now in this particular case, now what we are going to have, you just see, when I am giving the address 0, say word address is 0, then I am selecting this particular word. But when I am giving this particular address 0, it may happen that I am going to access only this particular byte. Okay. So if I am giving 0 and I am saying that I am going to access only this particular byte, then somehow I have to indicate it. Second issue is there, I am now going to access this particular 4 byte. Okay, it is a byte organized. I should have address for each and every byte. So initially for 64 M or 16 M, I said that I need 24 bit of address line. Okay. Now since I should have provision to access each and every byte, so I need additional 2 bits of information, because this 2 bits of information is going to indicate me whether I am going to access this particular word or this particular byte. I think you got it now. If the contents of all this particular 26 bit is 0, I am selecting this particular 08 bit. Okay. But when I am selecting this particular 08 bit, I am having option, either we are going to work with this particular word 0. It may happen that I am going to work with this particular byte 0 of this particular word, or it may happen that I am going to work with this particular half word. Okay. So that's why if say I'm just going to consider last 2 bits, say if last 2 bit is 00, then what will happen? We should have some provision whether we are going to work with the full word, or say I can say whether I am going to full word or half word or byte. To identify these things, what will happen? We have to take help of 2 additional signals. I can say this is H is going to indicate half word and say B is going to indicate byte. So now in this particular case, when the given address is 0, last 2 bytes, thus I am writing that last 2, if it is 00, In this particular case, I can access the entire word, I can access a byte or access a half word. So in this particular case, what will happen? When last 2 bit is 0 0, I can say that if it is your 0 and 0, I can say that I am going to access the complete word. That means I am going to work with this 32 bit. Okay. Now when I say that this is your 1 and 0, I can say that I am going to work with this particular half word. Okay. That means with this particular 16 bit. And when say that it is your 1 and 1, I can say that I am going to work with a byte. And 0 1 I am not using it, so this is not it. So this is with last 2 bit 0 0. Now when last 2 bit becomes 0 1, you just see that we don't have any other option, we have to work with this particular byte only, because we cannot start a word from here. Secondly, we are not going to start a half word from this particular point. Half word is either upper to 16 bits or lower 16 bits. So if it is 0 1, we don't have any other option, whatever it may be, I am going to work with a byte only. When this last 2 bit of address is your 1 0, that means I can work with this thing, that I can work with this particular byte or I can work with 2 bits. So I can have a similar combination. I will say that if it is 1 0, then I am going to work with this particular half word, upper half word, or it is your 1 1, then I am going to work with byte. So these are the two possible combinations that we have. Here we cannot have a complete word. Okay. Now when this 2 byte is your 1 1, then in that particular case, whatever it may be, because I don't have any other option, I am going to work with only byte. This is the most significant byte of this particular word. Okay, so you just say that if I am going to consider any word depending on this particular last 2 bits, this is basically say this is the 4 combination that I am going to have. Last 2 bytes is 2 bits of address will have these things, but others will be different. Okay, we can have many more bits. So for this particular word and for this particular word, others will be different, but we can have, this is the scenario. So in this particular case, what will happen? Say word always start with 0 0. Now depending on this particular line, signal line, now we can identify whether we are going to work with a word, we are going to work with a half word, or we are going to work with a byte. Okay. So now you just see, if we talk about a byte organized, then we have to give such type of provision in my memory organization or memory module, so that I can work with each and every byte though my word size is small. Okay. So this is the way that we can construct our memory module, and we say that my memory module is your byte organized. Now you just say we have discussed about this particular memory. Now when I come to this particular memory, I think we are having now idea how we are going to construct this particular main memory. We are going to store instruction, we are going to store data. So how every bit will be stored, that means memory cell and binary cell. You know how we can construct a memory cell to store one bit of information. It may be your dynamic RAM or it may be your static RAM. Now we can combine all those particular memory cell to construct our main memory. Now if you say that in your laptop you are having 16 GB of memory, that means 16 gigabyte of memory, and most of the machines my memory is your byte organized. If it is, you can say that the processor, word side of the processor is your 32 bits, or it is a 64 bit processor, then what will happen? The word size is your 64 bits. Okay, but we have provision to access each and every byte of that particular word. 64 bit, 8 is 64, that means we are having 8 byte in a particular word, and we have the provision to access each and every byte. Okay. Now this main memory is connected to the processor through this system bus. This is how it is. Now processor is going to work with the information available in the main memory. So what are those operation that we have while we are going to work with the memory, or when we are going to fetch the information from memory. So already I said that either we are going to get an instruction from memory or we are going to get a data from memory. So this is if we are going to get an instruction, generally we use the term that this is the instruction fetch. We are fetching an instruction. But when we are going to look for a data from a memory, generally we don't say it is a data fetch. Generally we say it is a data read. We are going to read my data or read our data. Similarly, when we are going to store some new information to the memory, that processor has processed it and it generates a result. Now I want to store the result in the main memory. Generally we say this is the write operation. That means we must have that provision to fetch an instruction, to read data and to write data to my memory. So how we are going to have this operation or effect? This I am going to give one information. So this is a fetch sequence. I think already I have mentioned about it, because when I am going to fetch an instruction, wherefrom I am going to get the address of that particular instruction, this remains in your program counter. Okay. In program counter, we are having the address of a memory location from where we are going to fetch the instruction. So that will be placed in your MAR. So already I have mentioned that these are the interfacing register MAR and MBR. First we are going to put my information is MAR, then address will be given to the memory location, and whatever we are going to get it from the memory location, that will be placed in our MBR. So these are the two interfacing registers. So in this particular case, first PC value will be placed in the MAR. This is my program counter. This contents of the program counter will put into the MAR, and that will go through this particular system bus. This is address bus of the system bus as an address to the main memory. Then what will happen? From memory, once we read it, then what will happen? This information will come to my MBR. And at the same time, we are saying that PC is equal to PC plus 1. That means we are incrementing the value of program counter, because after execution of this particular instruction, you have to fetch the next instruction for next memory location. And after that, once we get information in MBR, then we will transfer the information from MBR to IR. This is the instruction register. That means I have got the instruction. Now the information of the instruction register will be placed in the control unit, and control unit is accordingly going to coordinate the whole process. Now here you just see that I am having 4 operations, but it is done in 3 different clock timing. We are not going to use 4 clock timing. Okay. Now, but how we are going to run a 4 clock timing? We have to see these things, because it depends on the clock cycle. Say this is my clock. So this is the time period, and this time period is going to basically determine the frequency of my clock frequency of my processor. So if this time period is 3, then I know that the frequency will be your 1.t. This is the frequency of our clock. So generally you say that your processor works in say 3.2 gigahertz. That means this frequency is your 3.2 gigahertz, and accordingly we are going to have this particular time. Now when you say that your processor works in 3.2 gigahertz, basically it says that the processor is constructed. This is the processor. We are going to use the technology in such a way that this can be built with this technology, and which is going to work in 3.2 gigahertz. But it doesn't mean that this memory is also going to work in the same speed. If memory is also going to work in the same speed, then what will happen? The cost will go high and it will be beyond our affordable limit. So generally, speed of main memory is far more slower than the speed of my processor. So that's why what we are saying, when it is my processor is waiting from the data from the memory. So in this particular case, we have given the address, then we are indicating that you read the data. So in this particular case, what will happen? We have to get the data from this memory or instruction, and it will come back to processor. Since memory is a slower device, so it will take time. When it is getting the information from the memory, at that time resources of this processor is free. You just see now it is not doing any other work. Okay, so that time can be utilized, and what will happen in this particular clock cycle itself, we are going to increment the value of the program counter. Now we have to see there is a mechanism actually how we are going to give more. So this is the clock time, but how we are giving more time to the memory read or memory write operation. For that we have to do some synchronization of this low speed device to the high speed device. Okay, so we should have this particular synchronization mechanism. And in the third clock cycle we are placing MBR to IR. So this is the fetch sequence, and these are the steps that we are going to do while going to fetch an instruction from memory. So while going to fetch an instruction, if we say that this is instruction fetch, eventually this such type of updation of program counter is required. Okay. Now second one is your memory read. So what it basically says, if I am having these three operations, R1 value of register R1 is put into the MAR, then memory that we are identifying that particular memory location, bring this information from this particular memory location to MBR, and finally transferring the information from MBR to R2. So that means we are getting the contents of a memory location and putting it into the register R2. Now wherefrom I am going to get the address? The address of my data is stored in your register R1. That means you can say this is basically register addressing. The address is getting from the register. Already we have discussed about the addressing mode. So in this particular case, this is the register addressing mode. If I am going to use different addressing mode, then this particular read cycle will be different. So this is a memory read cycle. So it needs three different time steps. In time step T1 we are doing some operation, in time step T2 we are doing some operation, and in time step T3 we are doing the other operation. So combining these three operations, we can say that we are bringing the information from main memory to the processor register. Again, these three steps is depending on the addressing mode. Here we are using register addressing mode or register direct addressing mode, so it can be done in three steps. But if we are using some other addressing mode, then what will happen? This read step will be different. So basically it says what we said over here, what we have performed, address of the memory location is in the register R1 and data to be stored in register R2. That means we are giving an address of a memory location which is in the register R1. We get this information. Once it coming inside the processor, it is first comes to the MBR, then we are transferring it from MBR to the destination register R2. Okay, so this is the memory read sequence. Similarly, we are going to have the memory write sequence. Again, this is the simple one. Again, it is your memory direct addressing mode. So it is similarly, it is something like that. We are having the address in the register R1. It is your memory direct. We are having the data in register R2. So first we are transferring the information from R1 to MAR. We are giving the address to a particular memory location. Then we are bringing this data from R2 to the MBR. Then it issues the write signal. Okay. So when it issues the write signal, then data from MBR will be transferred to this particular memory location whose address is available in this particular MAR. Basically, you can say that what will happen, that my processor should give me the write signal also over here. That means we are giving the address, we are giving the data. Now processor will generate the write signal. That means write this information to the processor. Okay. Similarly, here also I can say that when I am going to say that giving the address to the memory, along with that I can say that processor is going to the read signal, that from this particular memory location you perform the read operation. Here also we can have this particular read signal that processor will generate, which will be transferred to the memory module through my system bus, because we are having one component called control bus in my system bus. So this is the way we can say that these are the signal, which signal will be generated by the processor to indicate that we are going to fetch the instruction. Which signal will generate the processor, we say that it is going to read the contents of a memory location, and this write signal will indicate that the whatever is available in the register MBR, write this information to the memory location whose address is in MBR. Okay. So these are the three basic operations that we are having when we are working with the memory. Okay. Now you just see what we have studied in this particular last few classes. Basically, we are discussing about memory, and this is the main memory basically. And main memory is constructed basically, or you say this is your RAM, random access memory, because randomly you can go to any location with the help of address and we can access it, and for that basically we have to give this particular. And when we talk about main memory or RAM, these are basically constructed with the help of semiconductor devices. Okay, and we say this is basically semiconductor memories. And another properties is that this is volatile in nature. As long as we have the power supply, we are working with this particular contents. Once we switch off it, then contents will go up. And for construction wise, we are having two different kind of RAM. One is your SRAM and DRAM. Okay. Static RAM and dynamic RAM. So we can construct our memory module with the help of either SRAM or DRAM. Okay, so what is the difference? If I talk about SRAM, packing density is low. In case of DRAM, packing density is high. In case of SRAM, the speed is more. In case of DRAM, speed is low. Cost wise, SRAM is costly, DRAM is less costly. Right? So now, if we go back to this particular slide, this is the component of a computer, very top level view. So basically we are having these three components: CPU, main memory and IO module in our computer. Till now what we have seen the basic working principle of the CPU, but till now we have not seen how we are going to construct the control in it. But we have seen this particular main memory module, and we know how to construct a main memory module, what are the properties that we have in case of our main memory module. Okay, with this I will conclude here today. From next class onward, we are going to see some other issues, that how we can enhance the performance of a machine, because already I said that the memory is a slower device. So when we are going to read or write something from the memory, what will happen? Processor is going to wait, basically it cannot do anything. So how to overcome such type of difficulties, or how to bridge the gap, we will see some methodologies or some techniques to improve the performance of our computer. Okay, with this I will stop here today. Thank you very much.